The Jackets took Liam Foudy in the first round, started the weekend, and this past week they have had development camp. Thought we'd catch up and get a recap on how things went. And our friend Bill Davidge, Fox Sports Ohio, joins us. Before I start asking you some hockey questions, Stan Jackson's here, and your son helped him win the golf outing that Jeff Logan had for the Logan Family Foundation last month. And so I think, Stan, it's only right that you publicly thank Bill for having a son that can play golf like that.
Oh, absolutely. Bill and I got to sit together after we played. Now, I probably had a bigger impact on the overall tournament. No, I'm kidding. His son can actually play. He's really good. Like, Bill, he went away, even in high school, he went to a military school, right, for hockey and golf?
He did, Stanley, yeah. I was here with the Blue Jackets and working, and he ended up going to play hockey and play golf for my brother Dan up at Culver Military Academy, and graduated there in 2002, and then went on to Miami University. And you got a chance to play some collegiate golf, and in fact just came fourth in the Ohio Mid-Am this week.
Is that right?
The kid can play. He's a talent like his late mother was.
That's something. Speaking of golf, before we get to the hockey stuff, you've got a golf outing coming up. It's like a month from now. Am I correct? And Eddie Olczyk, and what is going on there?
Well, we had a golf outing for the last 3 years, trying to raise money for my cancer, multiple myeloma. This year, I didn't get a chance to really meet people and thank people when I was in it. We're taking the golf away from it. We're going to have a dinner.
Oh, okay.
We're going to have a dinner at Brookside, and that's August the 16th. And basically, it's Eddie Olczyk's going to come in. He's a cancer survivor. We're going to get a chance to be able to have Sue Zazon, who's the president of Huntington Bank. We're going to share the stage a little bit, tell our stories a little bit. In the meantime, raise some corporate monies and some sponsorships to help out the James Cancer here in the city. The cancer situation there has been outstanding for me. I just got through my 13th month of clean. I am in remission from my multiple myeloma. Sue's had success, and we've got a few other people as well that we're going to recognize that evening. But we're just going to have a dinner, guys, and we're really looking forward to just kind of making a beautiful, a tie event, coat and tie event, and talk about the positives and the success stories that we've all had so far.
That's phenomenal, great news. But I got to tell you, when you said her name, I could hear that Quebecois coming out of you completely, that Canadian stuff.
Well, hey, being a guy that knows a little bit about Toronto and the Canadian football, Stanley, we've talked about that before as well.
That's right. Visiting with Bill Davidge, Fox Sports Ohio. Blue Jackets had development camp this week. I mentioned Liam Foudy, who was the first-round draft pick. What did you think getting the first glimpse of him on Nationwide Arena ice?
Well, the one thing that you can't do is get too darn excited about what you do see. Liam is an 18th overall pick. He's still, again, all these kids are 18 years old. But he just showed exactly what he has. And that, first of all, he's got a set of feet that are as good as anybody. His dad won a Grey Cup with the BC Lions, and Stanley can really appreciate. Yeah. His mother was a silver medalist in the 4x100 back in the '84 Olympics. So he comes from a family very athletic, and when you watch him on the ice, his first three steps are as good as anybody and anybody that I've seen. And I was a guy that really, I loved to skate, but to be able to see a guy like this that could get it up and get it going, he's a kid that's just a little over 6 foot. He's going to close in probably on 190 pounds by the time hockey starts in the fall. But he's got another couple of years at junior. They're not going to rush this guy, but he's got NHL caliber feet right now to be able to take him to the next level and have some success.
Well, you may have answered my question, but I was just wondering how far away in terms of, you mentioned it, the draft. At the top of the draft, you may see guys that are going to be here, playing right away and maybe in a year or two. But drafting 18th, is he a couple of years away probably?
Yeah, I would think. You give him another year at junior to build on the confidence that he had a chance to receive as a young kid, being a first-round pick overall to an NHL team. You helped him embrace that. This was a development camp for a lot of different reasons, and one of it was skill development, but a lot of it's a social development an understanding as well on what life is like. These guys took cooking classes. They had a financial analyst come in and help them understand where to go in the next realm of life. If you do get a chance to make some money, here's what you do. I mean, that's what it all was all about. And the hockey was a little side trail, far different than that's what I did when I left Miami University as a head hockey coach. I got into development with the Red Wings and the Florida Panthers, and it was strictly hockey. There was nothing else that you worked on those kids, but now it's a development program to help the whole body.
From a organizational aspect, the youth that we saw at development camp, obviously Liam Foudy being the this year's first round draft pick, but what do you see? Do you see a pretty solid farm system here for the Jackets?
I don't think there's any question. I think if you look back, the Jackets and what they've been able to get back in return, the American Hockey League, which is the next tier down, where a lot of these young guys will go after playing junior hockey, was in Cleveland, and they won the Calder Cup 2 years ago. Now, what do you get off of that hockey team? Well, that's where the Oliver Bjorkstrands, the Zach Werenskis, the Josh Andersons, your goaltenders, they all had a chance to be able to be part of a winning culture. And that's right now what they continue to build for is in that American League for guys to be able to take that next step. No question.
Jarmo Kekalainen now is embarking on trying to convince Artemi Panarin to sign long-term or figure out what his future is going to be. If he has to make the trade, if you know you're not going to sign him, Jarmo has talked about the possibility of trading him. We all hope that there's some kind of 8-year deal here, Bill, that can be worked out and that he can stay here. But how difficult a situation is this for the Jackets? And what kind of a pitch, I guess, if you're Jarmo, do you hope that he makes to Artemi here?
Well, I think the one thing that Jarmo wants to do is to look at him eye to eye. I think, Stanley, you understand, too, when you're in negotiations, you want to be able to look at the opposition and say, hey, here's what my goals are. This is what I want to try to do. To be able to see something that has been said or in writing, that doesn't quite cut it. And he's not that far away. Jarmo's going to be back in Helsinki. It's a 40-minute flight over to sit down and talk with our star there and Artemi Panarin, and I really think he's going to look at him eye to eye and be able to get a little bit of an idea on where he stands. What's he really want to try and do? And if he gets a positive feeling, understand that we still have Artemi Panarin as part of this Blue Jacket hockey team here in the fall. And it's going to be up to him when he comes back and is part of this team to be able to put forth the efforts that got him all this notoriety this year, because last year he had a great year, but you've got to continue to do it. But I like what Jarmo's doing. In the meantime, he's got a job to do. And his job is to go out, talk to other GMs, other organizations, and see maybe if he does not come back, what would be available? Is there a deal that we could have in place before the season begins to be able to bring him in to some of those teams that he would like to go to and possibly make a deal? So, the nice thing is, I guess you look at the positive side, he's going to be back for another year. Mm-hmm. And this could be a real big year, not only for him, but also the Blue Jackets in general with he and Sergei Bobrovsky. Bob's in the same scenario, but he has already began his negotiations and starting to talk a little bit. And that's great to see. But no, I like what Jarmo's doing. I think he's being patient, but he's gonna go through every pace and every nook and cranny to be able to see if he can entice him to be part of this organization for years to come. I think we all fell in love with his ability.
Oh yeah.
Now what we've got to do is fall in love with it if that heart is here in Columbus, and if it isn't, then you better find something for him.
Yeah, Bill, before I let you go, unrestricted free agency coming up. A couple of stories this week about possibility of maybe Rick Nash coming back. At the same time, story coming out that he's not going to commit to anybody right now because he's considering retirement. Does he want to continue to play? Whether you're the Jackets or anybody else that might be interested, how much would that give you pause if indeed Rick Nash a couple weeks from now is like, you know what, I am going to play? Would it make you wonder, is this guy all in or not? Just the Rick Nash situation. What's your read?
Well, same scenario. Close the door, bring him in, sit him down. Now, what's this all we've heard? What do you want to do? You tell us what you want to do. Mm-hmm. There's a rumor out, as we've all heard, that maybe this is it. Well, if he's starting to think that right away, then I don't think that's, this is a place for him. This is not a graveyard for old players, and we've had a chance to watch some guys go through this organization over the past years. I don't have to mention names. You guys can do your homework. But you don't want guys that are half in. Stanley knows that if you're going to win, you got to have that offensive line, that defensive line, and they better be all in. And if they aren't all in, you have no chance of getting to that promised land. I like Rick Nash. I love his abilities. But mentally, if that isn't in his heart, then I think Rick would be the first to admit it.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see next week whether there's a change or whatever, or whether he signed and what happens with Panarin. It's going to be it's an interesting offseason, and Yarmo's got a lot of work ahead of him. Bill, we appreciate you taking a few minutes, and good luck with the dinner coming up.
Well, you guys do a great job, and Stanley, again, I love what you're able to do. Robbie says you need to work a little bit on that short game.
And the mid game and the long game.
Exactly right.
Thanks for having me, guys. Anytime.